Hi everyone, it's Suzanne Gundersen. Welcome to this week's episode of Let's Tap. I'm so excited because this is the first time in 3 weeks that all the technology pieces have come together for me to actually be live on this page from my computer, to be able to share with you this amazing self-use acupressure technique that can help you truly transform your anxiety, your chronic stress, and any patterns that may have you leading to any type of health issue, mental health, emotional health, physical health challenges. So this show is every Monday at the Akashic Academy, where I come on and I share with you about this technique called energy tapping. And so tonight we're going to go over what is energy tapping. We're going to do a little bit of tapping together, and I'm going to take any questions that you might have. If you've ever been interested about tapping, or if you've been tapping for a while, you're all welcome to be here. Share with me what it is that you've had as your tapping experience, and we'll be able to work through anything that you might have as questions. So tonight's topic is how to use tapping to get more clear in your thinking, be able to get over your overthinking thoughts, get over any kind of cluttered thinking or confused thinking or foggy thinking. You know, life can be just very, very overstimulating, and we can often get stuck in our head and we wonder, you know, what is the right answer? What is the next step for us? So tapping can really be an effective tool to help us be able to gain that clarity. And in that clarity, we'll have the confidence to be able to swiftly move forward to what it is that we truly want. So I want to say hi to everyone that's joined us so far. I see Amber's here. Hello, Amber. Hey, Carla. Kim is here. Lamorla's here. Thank you all for being here. So what's tapping? Let's go over about let's review what tapping is all about. So tapping is a brilliant self-use acupressure technique where you literally use your fingers to engage the body's energy system. And when you're doing that, you're tapping on specific energy points that send a message to the part of the brain called the amygdala, which is the fire alarm part of the brain, the part of the brain that says, am I safe or am I not safe? So when we're tapping, we're literally sending this message to the part of the brain that says, we can calm down now. Everything's really okay. At the same time, when we're tapping, what we're doing is we're helping to regulate our nervous system. And as I think so many of us are aware of these days, that our body has a nervous system, which is just a manager of all the body systems. And when stress comes into our perception, our awareness, our nervous system gets activated in either a mobilization to go fight or flight, or we shut down into a freeze mode. So when we're tapping, we're literally engaging with that nervous system to be able to say, everything's okay. Let's start to settle all the body systems that may have been deployed and reaction mode to be able to help us defend whatever stress we might be experiencing. So when we think about how we're overthinking these days and how we're overstimulated, what happens is that the body is a state of being that perceives this overstimulation. And when the body gets overwhelmed, it often just wants to just shut down and sends a message to the mind and says, help me figure this out. But then what the mind does is it starts to loop in all of this overthinking and all of the confusion that comes from the overthinking and the fogginess that comes from the overthinking. And we can get stuck in our head. And all we really want to know is just, how do we get clear? So tapping really helps us to be able to calm down the body's experience of that perception of stress. That way we can really calm down the mind and move any of those cluttered thoughts through us. That way we can truly settle into, what is my body wanting to do next? And follow those impulses and urges and intuition to be able to take us in the direction with clarity and confidence. I'm going to say hi to a couple more people. Let me know, has anybody tried tapping before? Are you new to tapping? Where are you at in your tapping experience? Often find that there's some people that have been doing it for a while. I just want to kind of gauge where you all might be at. So I want to share with you what the tapping points are. And I use fewer tapping points than the traditional EFT tapping. And that's why I call what I do energy tapping. It's a little bit faster. I use more of just the fight or flight points. So just for practice, let's go over what the tapping points are, and we'll get to have you experience what that feels like. So I want you to take 2 fingers, either hand, it doesn't matter. Sometimes people like to use both, and that's fine. The first point is right here. If you grew your eyebrows together, this is the first point. It's called the eyebrow point. It is the bladder meridian, and it represents emotional trauma. So you just take your 2 fingers and get a nice bounce right between your eyebrows. So if you're following along, just take 2 fingers, either hand, get a nice bounce. You want to be able to actually hear your fingers patting on your skin. So do it with enough pressure that you actually can hear that patting sound. You don't want it to be so light that you can barely hear it or barely feel it. You want it to stimulate the energy body, stimulate the energy system. The next point is right here on the side of the eye. This is the side eye point. This is the gallbladder meridian, and it represents anger. And again, you can do it on both sides if you want. And then under your eye, on the top of your cheekbone right here, 2 fingers, get a nice bounce. We're just practicing right now if you're joining us. And then all 4 fingers get a nice bounce on your collarbones, right where both your collarbones kind of come here. Get a nice bounce right there. And then you're going to take one hand and squeeze the opposite wrist a few times. And then you want to make sure to breathe. Take a nice breath. So those are the tapping points that I like to use. And if you've watched, if you've done some tapping before or watched tapping videos, you might say, hey, Suzanne, you forgot a few points. There's a point here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Well, there are points all over the body. There's hundreds of energy points all over the body. And the reason why I like to use these ones, as I mentioned, is they are the more fight or flight oriented tapping points. And also it makes it a little bit faster, makes it a little bit easier. So how do you tap? Well, I teach tapping in 4 easy steps. Step number 1 is notice what bothers you and how it bothers you. So tonight's topic is all about how to think more clearly. So if you're with us, share with me, what is it you might be confused about? What is it that you want some clarity about? Is it your life purpose? Is it a situation with a relationship? Is it a job? Is it about your money? What is it about? Where are you wanting more clarity in your mind and your thought process? Share with me in the chat and let me know where you might be struggling with some fogginess, some confusion, some overthinking. And we can work on that specifically. So step number 1 of tapping is always notice what bothers you and how it bothers you. So for tonight's, topic, in terms of wanting to think more clearly, think of that thing that's got you fuzzy, overthinking, confused, cluttered, foggy. You just can't find your way out of it. Whatever that is, that thing that just gets your attention and focus and distracts you, whatever that is, just notice it. And then step number 2 of tapping is give it an intensity number on a scale of 0 to 10. If 0 means it doesn't bother me, and 10 is it really bothers me, what intensity number would you give this experience of being confused, overwhelmed, overstimulated, overthinking? And then try and find something that's a 6 or higher, meaning the intensity that you experience it with, you might feel it in your energy body. You might feel like a revved up. You might have a racing heart. You might have some more labored breathing. You might be sweating. You might feel some tension and tightness in your body. Or maybe you just feel that clenched jaw or some type of a grip that you have on it. Maybe it's just the thought that just rapid fires in your mind over and over and over and over again. So notice the intensity, that's step number 2. And step number 3 is to go to the part that stands out the most. The part that really, 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 gets you. The part where you say, but this is the part that really confuses me. This is the part that's really keeping me from having the clarity that I want. Maybe it's a thought, maybe it's an old situation or a memory. Whatever it is, just invite it to come to you and put your focus right there. Because the more you can focus on the thing that is the source of the problem, you're closer to the root of the pattern. And what we do here is we unlock and resolve stress patterns. That way we can be liberated into the clarity and the confidence that we're looking for. So that's step number 3 of tapping, is find the worst part, the part that stands out the most about what it is that your stress and struggle is with with the confusion, the overwhelm, whatever it is that's got you not being able to think clearly. And then step number 4 of tapping is we're actually going to use the tapping points. So let me see if anybody who's been sharing with me. So Sharon says, moving out of state, question mark. So Shannon, does that mean you're moving? So is that your stress? You're not sure if you should move or not? Dallas says relationship confusion. Amber says fogginess from fibromyalgia. Yes, there can be some symptoms from chronic stress, autoimmune issues that create fogginess in the brain. So everyone's sharing with me their intensity numbers. 10. Dallas says 10. Amber says 10. Shannon says 7. Lynn Marie says routines that I need to do, but I don't like to do. Hey, Cindy's here. Yay. John's here. Awesome. So if you've been following along or you're just joining us, find something right now where you might have some confusion, some overwhelm, overstimulation, some clutter, some brain fog. Whatever that is, give it an intensity number on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 meaning it doesn't bother you. 10 really bothers you. Step number 3, go to the part that stands out the most. The part that you're like, oh, this is the part that just really confuses me. This is the part I just can't figure out. This is the part that's in the way. And then step number 4 is we're going to do some tapping together. So take your 2 fingers, either hand, doesn't matter, and repeat out loud after me and follow along. Start tapping between your eyebrows and say, all this clutter, all this confusion. I need answers. And I'm foggy. Answers seem so far away from me. What should be next? I don't know how to trust what I'm feeling. It's so overwhelming. And then tap on the side of the eye right here. This thing that's confusing me. Everything that's contributing to this confusion. All the stories, all the thoughts. And then tap under your eye. All this lack of clarity. Whatever's in the way. The spinning thoughts. The overwhelmed body experience. Any symptoms in my body that are on overdrive. And tap on your collarbones. Whatever's going on in my mind, I just let those thoughts pass. Disconnecting from those thoughts. Helping my body settle down. Calm down. It's really my body that's overwhelmed. Calm my body, my mind will calm too. And tap between your eyes again. I really, really, really want to figure out the answer to this problem. And I've been really confused. All the thoughts of confusion, all the stress of the confusion, fogginess, overstimulation, overwhelm, overanalyzing, overthinking. I just let it go. I clear it from my point of view. I resolve the connection with it. And I help my body calm down. There's only one logical next step that's going to lead me to the answer and receive the clarity. And tapping is helping me calm down so I can welcome this inspiration, welcome the impulses and urges so that I know for sure, 100%, what's next. Inviting this clarity into my body, clearing any blocks or barriers in the way of having this, just letting it go. And then take one hand and squeeze the opposite wrist a couple of times. Take a nice, easy breath. Blow it out. Say the word clear. Now I want you to, in your mind, imagine a lake, and this lake is crystal clear. You can see to the bottom of it. You can see all the rocks and the pebbles in the bottom of it. You can see clearly directly to the bottom. Maybe this lake is 10 feet deep, 30 feet deep, 100 feet deep. No matter how deep your lake is, I invite you to notice that you can see clearly to the bottom. And tell me, do you have any resistance to seeing this clearly, this lake? If you don't, then continue to visualize it. Continue to experience clarity for yourself. And then take your two fingers between your eyes and say, the pathway is clear now. I have clear pathways inside of me. I can see clearly. I can experience clarity. It's a skill I have inside of me. And I can do this. Clearing the pathways so I can have this clarity for what it is that I need. Clearing any blocks or barriers, loosening any resistance to being able to have this clarity for myself, for my highest good, in this moment, trusting my body to give me the clear message. And then take your one hand, squeeze the opposite wrist, take a nice breath, blow it out, say the word peace. Then I invite you to go back to the thing that you were confused about before and tell me what stands out, or tell me what intensity number you're at now. So I know a bunch of you typed in and shared with me what your intensity levels were when we first started, but share with me what you might have now, or tell me what your experience has been. Hi, Kelly Robin, thanks for being here. And Linda Barnes is here too. So share with me in the chat what number you have now. Where are you in terms of your confusion and clutter now? So I think Dallas said earlier that he had confusion about a relationship. Does anybody else have confusion with relationships? Shannon said she's down to a 4. That's brilliant, Shannon. That's amazing. That was just after a few minutes. Yes, many people are saying just let God lead the way. You know what? We have, I think when we're younger, we have a lot more control over our lives. And then we realize as we get older, we need to have more compassion and grace for ourselves when we have less control. And there really is something that is divinely being led for us if we just surrender our ego, surrender our grips on control for purposes of needing connection or survival strategies. And that the more we stay in a flow, that the more we can be really beautiful active receivers. And that when we try and push the river, or when we try to grab onto something for connection or survival needs, that we're actually slowing down the process from receiving what it is that we truly want, that's truly meant for us, that's truly a part of our divine purpose and our highest good. And Kelly said she's been off track on her tapping, but she's glad to be back. Awesome. Carla says her eyes are watering. So just know that thank you for sharing that, Carla, because our bodies, we live in the 3D here on this planet, and our bodies have a physiology. And when we are stuck in a stress response where we are literally in our head and out of our body goes into disassociative shutdown mode. And so as we're tapping, we're thawing out that freeze. We're coming down off the stress response, and your body's physiology may have a different experience. And so there may have been something that, had been trapped as an emotion or an emotional habit in your body, Carla, that as you start to release that your eyes begin to water. So welcome any symptoms of your physiology changing and just be aware of it and let it occur for you and just stay present with it as whatever your experience is. Cindy says her intensity was a 7 and definitely a 1. She feels incredible. Love that, Cindy. That's amazing. She took an internal shower, she says. That's so great. Kim says she was an 8 in regards to dealing with unaware, seemingly sleeping people. Now maybe a 2. I understand that it's not them, but how I react to them. Yes. This is why I love to use the Ho'oponopono in my work, because it truly is everything that we perceive is our responsibility. Even though we might be right about how they are acting and behaving and what they're doing and how it is affecting people, in our awareness of it, we own it. And if it's stressing you out, if it's causing you to be fuzzy, confused, overthinking, overstimulated, it is your opportunity to be able to use something like tapping to be able to help you, lessen that intensity, come to a place of compassion and grace, self-honor, self-forgiveness, and be able to transform and grow through that. Georgiana says, thank you. It's greatly appreciated. I'm stressed and feeling sick to my stomach. Tapping helps. Brilliant. Val says, your company at this time is lifesaver. Wonderful. So I wanted to share with you that in the description box of this video, I have a couple links. One is a link to my my closed tapping group called the Empowered Tapping Revolution. So I invite you to go over and join the group, where I do more live video and I share tapping scripts. And it's a really beautiful space for us to all receive support and strategies to be able to help us every day overcome our stress and struggle, no matter how that plays out in your life, whether it's relationships, work, life purpose, midlife transitions, whatever it might be. We've got strategies for you there, and it's a beautiful community that we're growing. So I invite you to go to the description box of this video and click the link for the Empowered Tapping Revolution. Also, if you've got some specific stress or struggle, maybe it's with you wanting more clarity in your life, maybe it's with something else, maybe it's a chronic stress symptom like anxiety or fibromyalgia or some other type of physical illness, feel free to pop on my calendar for 30 minutes. There's a link in the description box for you to get onto my calendar for 30 minutes, and I will give you a personalized tapping experience to really jumpstart your success in the direction of gaining more clarity and confidence and be able to overcome any blocks or locked patterns that may have been old emotional habits from the past. So I just want to share with you a couple of things about the basics of tapping. 2 questions. One is people often ask me, how long do you tap for? Do you tap for 5 minutes? Do you tap for an hour? Do you tap all day? Do you tap at a certain time? And I'll just share with you that really tapping is a brilliant tool where in the moment, if you're experiencing stress and struggle, you can use this technique in the moment to be able to help you overcome that. And you want to do that in the moment until you feel some relief and some shifting. And you might experience that as a yawn or a tingly sensation, or maybe it's just a spontaneous breath or an overall sense of peace and calm to the body. So in the moment, you want to be able to tap to be able to help yourself come to a place of peace. Because as I think maybe it was Kim or Kelly mentioned earlier, or Georgiana says, it's truly all of our perception. And we want to be able to help our perception be relieved and comforted and feel more safe and calm down. So when to tap? In the moment, when you're having your stress and struggle. All you have to say is, let it go, let it go, let it go, I'm letting it go, I'm letting it go. And remember to breathe. Also, you might want to make tapping a habit to be able to have it be something that's in your life more fluidly. So if you are someone who wakes up in the morning, you have a little bit of a routine, maybe you add tapping, maybe you add 30 seconds of tapping. Maybe if you have an affirmation schedule in the morning, maybe you tap while saying your affirmations. Maybe you just tap and say, I'm ready for, to manage my stress today. I've got this brilliant tool that I can use to be able to help myself stay calm and present throughout the entire day. And keep it simple. So definitely tap in the moment. Definitely tap as a habit to be able to remind yourself that you've got this amazing tool. And then also, if you've got something bigger going on in your life, like more of a chronic stress issue, something that's more recurring, not just something that comes into your awareness like an acute stress, but more of a chronic stress, you might want to lay out kind of a plan for yourself to be able to tap, to say, okay, today I'm going to tap on, this part of the story. And tomorrow I'm going to tap on another part of the story, and maybe the other part of the pattern that's behind what's creating my confusion, what's got me so overwhelmed, what's got me so stressed out. So you can make a schedule of tapping for yourself. I have a YouTube channel called Transform Connections. You're welcome to go on there and watch tons of videos on there that I do about tapping. Or there's wonderful other people who are out there doing tapping on YouTube, and you can watch their videos to be able to really help yourself transform. My specialty is to be able to help people to relieve anxiety on demand and resolve chronic stress. So if that's you, feel free to pop yourself on my calendar, and I'm happy to get you jump started in the direction of that. But so the few ways that you can tap in the moment, in the heat of the moment when you've got a stress going on, right then and there. Secondly, make it a habit every day about maybe adding, tapping to your positive affirmations, or just reminding yourself in the morning that this is a technique that you can use throughout the day. And then also, if you've got something bigger going on, you can actually lay out a tapping schedule for yourself based on maybe references or resources that you found online to be able to tap along with them, that really you can incorporate it as a tool in your life. I've been tapping for over 15 years, and certainly there are days that I don't tap. And sometimes those are great days for me because I didn't need any tapping. And then there's other times where I have really bad days and I forget about tapping. And so the more you can remind yourself of it as a tool, because often when we get into the boohoo's of life and we get into the hopelessness and helplessness and the real despair and the real stress of anxiety and anger, we forget that there's these brilliant tools out there. So we need to do things like create a habit for them, bring them into our life, share them and talk about them with other people, listen to these types of events on the Akashic Academy to be able to remind ourselves that there's these amazing tools out there for us. So I'm just reading some more comments here. Cindy says, it's so worth it, I did. Carla says, this is crazy, I thought it was good and now the water just won't stop. Carla, sometimes the body just needs to process in its own way, and we have to just let it happen, let it flow. Okay. So I was mentioning before that, if you have any type of relationship confusion, that's often a really big topic that people struggle with, because connection is so important to us. As we get older, love is very, very important to us, and feeling validated and being able to connect with people authentically, be able to express ourselves in real ways that make us feel satisfied and alive is so important. So when we're in conflict with another person and confused and are overthinking and are foggy about what to do with that relationship, it certainly can bring some challenges into our life. So I thought I would just honor Dallas's request earlier, or mention earlier about relationship confusion. So let's do a little bit of tapping about that as we kind of wrap up our show tonight. But let's go to our 4 easy steps of tapping, right? Step number 1 of tapping is always notice what bothers you and how it bothers you. So do you have a relationship in your life where there's some confusion? There's some overthinking. There's some fogginess, some uncertainty. Whatever that might be, just invite that into your experience right now. Notice what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. How do you know that there is some relationship confusion, relationship clutter? And then step number 2 of tapping is give it an intensity number on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 meaning doesn't bother you, 10 meaning it really bothers you. Try and find something that's higher than a 6. Step number 3 of tapping, go to the part that stands out the most, the part of that relationship that really just gets under your skin and goes, I just don't know what to do about this. What do I do about it? What do I do about this relationship? Which way do I go? Up, down, left, right? Whatever that looks like, sounds like, feels like, lean into it. We've got to press on the pain just a little bit. You got to get into it just a little bit. And then step number 4 is we're going to start tapping. So take your 2 fingers, either hand, doesn't matter. and say, this relationship confusion, I just want to figure it out, but I'm so confused. Whatever triggered this confusion, how I got to this place in this relationship of not knowing which way to go. All the overstimulation, the overthinking, the clutter, the fogginess about this relationship, how it got there, why it's there, how I want to do something about it. Every emotional aspect behind this relationship confusion, how my body experiences that, the thoughts my mind thinks about that, the beliefs I have in my body about that, the old emotional habits that are lingering from past relationship conflicts, past relationship confusion. I'm willing right now in this moment to settle it down, calm it down. The answers are within me. I create everything. This relationship confusion, stress and struggle, I just calm down and let it go. All my attachment to every detail, I'm willing right now to let it go. There's only one next step for this relationship. And I'm opening all the channels to knowing what that should be. Clearing any blocks, clearing any barriers, loosening up any resistance so that I can find the next step. So it can come to me effortlessly and easily. Relationship confusion, relationship clutter, overwhelm, overthinking. I just let it go. And then take one hand and squeeze the opposite wrist, take a nice breath, blow it out, say the word clear. And then just notice how you might be feeling now. Maybe you might have yawned or felt a little tingly sensation, or maybe you took a spontaneous breath, or you just feel some, more comfort in your body's experience. And so right now, I just invite you to kind of sit in that space and then welcome any of urges and impulses that you might be feeling in your body that might translate to ideas and creative thoughts about what to do about this relationship. And that's how you make tapping work for you, is you calm down your body and your mind enough. You leave the tornado of your mind's thinking and your body's expression of that stress, and you get out of that tornado and you come to a place of peace and calm. And in that peace and calm, the clarity will arrive. And then you will feel confident and say 100%, yes, this feels right to me. And if you're not at that yes yet, then you keep tapping until you know this feels good, this feels right. Only act on impulse. Any other action is a waste of effort, and it will always have to be redone. So you really want to get aligned with who you are in that moment, and that means to tap, to be able to clear all the confusion and the clutter and the fogginess and the overthinking and the overstimulation, all of it, to get to a place of peace and calm. And in that peace of calm, you will know what the right next direction is. I'm going to say hi to a couple more people. Noni's here. Hello. Hi, Y from New Zealand. That's amazing. Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. As I mentioned, I have a private Facebook group called the Empowered Tapping Revolution. The link is in the description box of this video. You're all welcome to join, as well as if you're interested to really dive deeper and really start some clearing and jumpstart your stress relief. Pop on my calendar for 30 minutes. We'll do a private video chat. I know Cindy, who's on here, I've had a session with her before, and she had some amazing shifts. And I know she's a tapper. So we want to be able to convert you to be somebody who's using tapping every day to be able to help you overcome anything that's keeping you from having that clarity, that motivation, that purpose. All of us deserve to have that in our life, and life can be very overstimulating. So tapping is a brilliant self-use tool that you can use in the moment to be able to help give you direction and purpose and clarity. So thank you all so much for listening to me again, and I will see you next Monday at Let's Tap.